so lonely. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping.
Do you think it's racist to require an ID to vote?
Yes.
I think there's definitely a problem with it because it is so expensive to get the IDs in the first place. And so, yes, I guess to the extent that money can be tied to race, yes, it is racist.
Say that it's harder for a black person to get an ID than a white person.
I would have no idea. But I mean, if they say it is, then I believe them.
Right.
People in like Compton, like it's much more difficult. Like it's like, you know, like just
I have
harder
no
to
idea
get around.
whatsoever.
If you like have like lack of
I got this
transportation,
house
like poor
ID,
area.
my
Do
car
you think that
ID, drive on the
requiring
road,
an ID
no
to
ID.
vote is racist in and of itself?
No, it'd only be racist if like you could like make it so other people, like other certain races, had less access to IDs.
There are people out there who say like black people don't have access to even get IDs. Have you heard anyone say that before?
I can't say that I have. No.
You have an ID?
Question. I have no ID whatsoever. I have no idea how to get an ID. And quite frankly, they gave me a bank account and a house without an ID. Just kidding. What's going on, folks? Welcome to ROMA Nation. We are back. We had a little bit of a hiatus. I know that 2 weeks ago we were, I don't know, just needed a little bit of a break. And then, of course, we had Halloween last week. So, you know, had to do things with the family and the kiddos. But you know what? That's what we're all about. It's all about family. But outside of that, tonight, it's Shutdown Day again. And truths and myths of voter ID later on tonight. So sit back and relax as ROMA Nation starts now.
I'm hiding, I'll be so lonely. I'm hiding, I'll be so lonely.
Scrap, we're back. How you doing? Uh-oh.
If I can find my mute button, I'll be a hell of a lot better.
I swear that happens almost every single show that we've had. I mean, when I did Roma Sports last week, it was horrible. Like, everything was running fine, and then as soon as I started everything up, the internet was like, yeah, I'm going to give you a lot of problems tonight. But not this time. Scrap is on it.
We got it.
Yes.
I try to keep all my controls on my outboard gear here and not mess with it in the computer in StreamYard, none of that. This is difficult to get to the mouse and unmute and all of that but when you have a big lit button right, you can do this. Found it. Got it. Anyway.
Such a weirdo, bro.
I can be that way sometimes.
All right. Well, before we get started, you know what to do. Go to riseofmiddleamerica.com and check out our lineup of podcasts from history to news, pop culture, sports. We cover it all. At the top of the page is our socials in the upper right-hand corner. And at the bottom is a link to our merch. We should have some new merch coming up here soon. So you can support us by going to the Real Roma _AK and hitting that subscribe button, or go down to our Discord and sign up for one of our luscious memberships. So like, comment, subscribe, and help us become the largest podcast network on the net. All right, so without further ado, let's rant. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So today, we're going to dive into the federal government shutdown. I mean, we've all been talking about it. Unless you've been living under a rock, what caused it, and when are we going to reach an agreement, right? And this unsigned funding resolution, and what's the controversy over the immigration part, and who gets the benefits, right? And that's what Republicans are pointing at as the sticking point. So we'll break it down question by question to see what's really going on behind the headlines. But the only way that we can do that is by seeing what the Republicans and the Democrats have to say about it. So let's see what Mike Johnson's got to say. Here we go.
Schumer and Jeffries and their colleagues fear political retribution from the far left activists in their party more than they fear the consequences of keeping the government closed for weeks on end. They fear that personally for their own political future. And they care more about that than they care about SNAP benefits flowing to hungry families, about air traffic controllers being paid so they can keep the skies safe, Border Patrol troops, and all the rest. It pales in comparison, and this is a simple summary that is a simple fact. It is extremism on the left that is the direct cause of American suffering right now.
What'd you think?
I believe it. The left has committed acts of violence against their own. Minnesota, the couple of elected representatives up there were murdered, if I do remember, because they broke ranks with the Democrats on some votes. There's a lot of political violence on the left, and there's a growing that radical wing is growing.
It is.
So, I believe it.
Yeah, the thing is that it's the radical left. It's the Marxist movement, right? They call themselves socialists. Really, they want communism, but it's the Marxist revolution. That we've seen it before, right?
Color revolution.
Yeah, and the establishment Democrats are running scared because they know that they don't have the ability to fight these people. They're much younger. They have a lot more. They have a lot to gain and nothing to lose by what they're doing, right? And the establishment Democrats, even though a lot of people like to, harp on them about some of the things that they passed and stuff, but the thing is that they know that they still have a line, right? There's still lines that they will not cross. Yeah, go ahead.
And I'll save that thought. Let's see what else we got.
All right,
let's keep moving on it.
Let's move to the establishment Democrats and let's see how they're going to get themselves on this pickle. Oh, it's Hakeem Jeffries. Where's his hat? Let's go.
Democrats have framed this debate as being about healthcare premiums, which are expected to skyrocket at the end of the year right now. But have we reached the point where other crises like those benefits now no longer available to Americans have become more immediate, that it needs to be addressed right now?
We need to find a bipartisan path forward to enacting a spending agreement immediately that meets the needs of everyday Americans in terms of improving their quality of life and lowering the high cost of living, while at the same time addressing the Republican health care crisis that now threatens for premiums, copays, and deductibles to increase dramatically for tens of millions of people.
The president says, let's just get the government reopened. Let's just get the government reopened, and then we can figure out a solution on health care, and I'm willing to negotiate with Democrats. Why not accept his premise on that?
Well, the president is clearly unwilling to negotiate. In fact, he's playing golf this weekend at his beach resort. And we continue to say we want to sit down in good faith with the other side of the aisle to resolve this issue, to reopen the government.
Okay, if this is all about healthcare, all right, it's clear that you don't need to talk about that in order to reopen the government. That has nothing to do with reopening the government.
No, this budget is Biden's budget. It's literally a Biden budget.
No,
the only thing that the Republicans are not willing to put into what the Democrats want is all of that foreign spending stuff, that DEI for third world countries kind of funding. I mean, we heard, I think one of our last shows we did, and maybe it was a Sunset Rants. We played a clip of Senator Kennedy or Congressman Kennedy. I forget if he's Senator or Congressman, but he's a funny guy with a Southern accent and just likes to rip on Ocasio-Cortez all the time. And he went down through the list of all these redonkulous things that were like LGBT funding for LGBT stuff in countries that hate gay people. Like, just burn the money.
Right.
Well,
actually, it goes deeper than that, right? Because a lot of this that they're speaking about is the healthcare. And I understand that aspect with the LGBTQ community and that, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's we've been hearing a lot about immigrants, right?
Yeah.
And about immigrants having benefits, at least illegal immigrants having benefits that they're getting through certain loopholes or whatnot, which we're going to go over here in a minute.
They want that funded too, and that's part of Trump's thing is like, no, we want to cut all of this because we're getting them out of the country. Disincentivizing people from coming here illegally. Quit rewarding people for being criminals is what basically the plan is on the Republican side.
Yeah, and that's what the Republicans are saying. And I wouldn't even go even as far as saying, hey, they're criminals, even though they did break the law crossing over our borders and stuff. But when they come over and then you allow them to, and you sit there and you say, hey, we know that you've come from a bad spot or whatnot, so here you go, we're just going to give you this card, all this other stuff. When we have all of these other people and they're complaining about people needing their food stamps, what does immigration have to do with food stamps for American citizens that actually need them? Like, where is the correlation in that?
It's because illegal immigrants are getting food stamps as well, and so it's like, so there's there's two things going on there, and it is about that, and it's all intertwined. And the other thing to think about, and this was the thought I held back earlier, was there's a contingency on the left where this thing works well for them as long as it's shut down. Why? Because it gets people mad, gets people all stirred up, people who feel entitled to these benefits. And some people need it, others don't. But it's such an emotionally tied thing that the radical left is like, yeah, cool, create the chaos. And part of me feels like the Republican side, maybe in Trump, some people in Trump's cabinet, in the administration, want that to also happen so they can bring up the Insurrection Act if something pops off. That's my theory, is that both sides are playing chicken with each other.
Yep.
Because that ties into the Marxist thing earlier. It's that revolution, it's all that. And somebody is already mounting a counter-revolution, is just ready for a fight. There are people on the right wing that are ready for a fight. A real knockdown, drag-out fight. They're just waiting for Trump to unleash whatever that is and figure out. And I don't know what it is either. But it's that.
I can see that because I mean, I have social media. I'm in circles on the left and the right, and I'm watching this boiling. What is it? The frog in the boiling water?
Yeah, frog in a pot. I mean, but at this point, it's like, I think we're beyond that. The middle section is just already, they're always the frogs boiling in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people that have figured out, oh no, we need to get out of this situation, are out of the pot. They're like, no, I don't know how to make. I'm running out of illustration. It's bad. It's just like, it's a big line drawn down the middle, and there's a lot of people that are just blind to it. They don't see it coming. Some people are just like, give me my SNAP benefits. Other people are like, kick them all out. And other people are like, stop fighting. I don't care. Let me turn on the ball game. Oh, wait, the ball game is woke too. I can't watch that without politics.
Right, right.
You know, it's like everywhere you go, and people are just, the middle is just kind of fatigued about this and wishes it would be over. But
Right.
so
Right.
how do you get around this? Call your Congress people, yell at them, say, hey, get this thing figured out. But the worst part is that Trump is saying, hey, kill the filibuster. But that's a problem too, because that's a tool that is used to stop the process when you know you don't have the votes to stop it, but you can just sit there and scream into the wind for however long you can, while people in the aisles, like, it's like it becomes a war of attrition at that point. But a filibuster is one of those nice things that isn't totally destructive. It's been it's a useful thing. It doesn't completely stop the process. It's not a trump card. All you have to do is wait for them. If enough of you want to vote and get it through, you can. They just have to stop filibustering.
Exactly.
And there are limitations on the filibuster. Problem is when you take it away, the other side now, eventually they get to use it. And it's not like you can just take it away and put it back right away. Like it's one of those, like, it's there for a reason. Maybe we should leave it. So.
I definitely agree. And it's clear. So what are the facts, right? So the facts are, the Senate requires 60 votes. All right. There are 53 Republicans, 47 Democrats. All right. There are 53 Republicans and 2 Democrats that have voted yes. One of them being my Republican psyop, John Fetterman, which I've been calling that for 2 years straight. It's like nobody gets it. Like I said it randomly one day and it just kind of stuck in my head, and I don't know, maybe he's watching this show as we speak.
Hilarious.
But the House simple majority cannot force the Senate to act alone. And on top of that, Donald Trump cannot force this through.
Nope.
People need to understand that. Columns of government. This is a congressional problem, not
separation of powers.
A presidential power or problem.
Now, Trump can lean on people. He can
call them names.
We're in a weird cycle where people don't need his backing. Right? At this moment, nobody needs him to back them in the Senate or the Congress. They can just do what they want to do. I mean, we gave Trump the mandate, and the Republicans, we gave them everything, and they refuse to use the power that they have in many circumstances, which is one argument for ending the filibuster. But go ahead.
But here's the thing: when the government is shut down, you're basically giving Trump a lot more power than he has.
In some ways.
In some ways, right? So what? But it's not. It has nothing to do with making the laws and signing them in. Right? He doesn't have the power to do that. But with what he's got within his column, he can do whatever he wants at that point, because there's nobody in Congress that can stop him while there's no, acting body to regulate him. Mm-hmm. Right? So what exactly are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to create a situation in which you think he's going to do something stupid and then wake the government up and be like, you can't do that? Well, no, but here's the thing. I think the Democrats are between a rock and a hard place now, because for 60 years, they've been promising a lot of different things, and they've been incorporating a lot of different groups into their party. And what started to happen is they started bringing in groups of people that they shouldn't have had into their party, because now those same said people are now gaining power and are influencing the way that the Democrats are voting and the Democratic populace, right? And they don't have a way to stop it. They don't. So I really don't know what to do other than tell them, hey, you've got maybe one chance, and that's this administration to clean house. Because if not, all those establishment Democrats are gone. They're out of here. And then we're going to have a lot worse problems in this country because we're going to have a way more extreme populace and a lot more bad things potentially could happen.
Yeah, every step of the way we keep saying, well, it can't get any worse than this, and then it does.
Absolutely.
Even through Trump getting elected, are there things that I prefer him being there? Honestly, I'm not saying I want, it would have been the same thing with Kamala. It would not have been. It would have just been a faster. It would have just been greased lightning for all the stuff the Democrats want. It would have been a much different story. But even with the Republican in, who's really just a 90s Democrat, the radicalization of the left, the Democrat Party is over. They pushed most of their good support. The middle has gone to the Republican side. The Republican Party's not even conservative anymore. And we're stuck with a non-conservative Republican Party, a radical leftist Democrat Party, and a bunch of whack jobs that are starting to pop up all around the fringes that are just ready to set fire to things.
I don't even say that they pushed into the Republican Party. I think what happened is the radical left came over, grabbed that middle line, and pulled it towards them and said, "We are now. This is us.
Right.
You guys over there."
Either way, effectively, the practicality is the same. You're either Democrats are not voting, or they're flipping. That's kind of a thing. But this midterm still doesn't look good for Republicans.
It doesn't.
Even through all of this, it doesn't look good for anybody at this point. So I'm kind of hands in the air, honestly. Like, I'm just watching it crumble.
Yeah, and a lot of people have looked at the past week with the off-cycle elections that happened, and I hear them saying things like, "Well, here we go. It's starting all over again. Like, it's going to move over to the left, and then the left are going to gain power in the midterms, and blah, blah." I actually don't think that's the case. I'm going to tell you why. Because one, a lot of these elections happened in blue centralized areas, right? Where a Democrat was most likely going to win, right? Except for in Seattle, where I think Seattle is about to flip face and have a Republican mayor.
That'd be insane.
That would basically mean that every single Republican finally realized, wait a minute, we have power.
Because if enough, this is the thing. our local off-year election voting stuff that just happened here, 29% of people in my township participated. And the only reason they participated is because we were voting on tax levies, and they were like, near. And that was it. And usually we have about 50% that participate in, the other larger election cycles. If we would all just get it together and show up no matter what, we could do things. But the fact of the matter is most people don't pay attention until, or the majority of people come out during the general elections.
The big one. Yeah.
The big ones. And, your governor, when a governor's up for a re-election or out, like next year, Ohio, that'll be a thing. So this will be a big off year. This will be a big turn, next year for us, because who knows where Ohio is going to go.
Exactly. Not only that, but I mentioned one thing. There's actually a second thing, and that is a lot of these areas where these elections are, a lot of the Republicans have fled. They have taken off. And what that does, and this is what people aren't realizing, is that the amount of people that have left those areas, have left those states. And now what's happening is when you start doing the census, a lot of those states, you might have won the battle in this small area, but you lost the census war. So now your state is going to go down in representatives, while wherever they went is going to go up.
That's true. That's true. And the thing that the Democrats have done is they've inflated a lot of their blue states with illegals because the census isn't based on citizenry, it's based on population, residency,
Right. And I think,
which is garbage. It should be based on how many citizens do you have in
yeah,
your state.
yeah, because you notice how in some states, they'll have people that say that call their those illegal aliens constituents, and it's like,
I mean, if you're a resident, if you're a foreign resident, green card, and you're working and stuff, and you're part of, local community and stuff, yeah, in a practical kind of way you are. But we need guardrails to incentivize people that if they're participating and they have kids here and they're in schools and all of that, maybe you should just become a citizen, you know.
mhm.
There needs to be some kind of a gate, some kind of gatekeeping needs to happen because people will just be here and they'll be perpetual permanent residents and never have residency, and there's benefits to that citizens don't get, which is weird. It's like, why should somebody get a benefit that's here unless there's some special thing, and it should only be for. See, that's the problem. Democrats are always like, hey, let's give this special thing for these people for this reason. And it's like, yeah, let's do it for temporary and we'll get through this time, just like welfare was with after the Depression, and then it never went away. Because once the government does something and they have power, they never relinquish it. Well, how does that give them power? Well, you're dependent. These people are dependent on the government. Well, we're getting off on a rabbit trail. But you were talking about people moving from state to state, right? Well,
Right.
if Trump is able to, or the administration is able to do something where now a new census wouldn't be, I don't know if that's hit on him or if that's something that Congress would have to pass a law for. But if a census is going to be based off of just citizens, and even if it's not based on just citizenry, people that are moving are conservatives that have babies and families. And if it's just them moving, eventually the blue states will dwindle because they have less babies, right? But that doesn't account for the influx of Muslims and Latin people that are also traditional that will take over all these LGBTQ places over time. All these liberal places are going to be completely wiped out over time because they don't have babies. That's just the bottom line. I mean, there's nothing else to that. But that takes like a generation to happen. And I don't know if we have a generation to wait.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happened in the 80s in California. Because it took so it happened in the late 80s, and then you started seeing the change in the 2000s, right? Especially in a lot of the cities in California where they started having these mandates with illegal aliens and how they treated them and how they were able to bring them in and give them sort of like a safety net coming in. I mean, it doesn't have to be much, right? But then again, when you think about actual American citizens that live in that same area who've been struggling for years, seeing somebody cross the border and then all of a sudden they have all of these things. I mean, what exactly do you tell those constituents? Right? I actually want to know. I want to know, like, what do you tell those constituents who have actually been there, who actually have the right to vote? They want to know the answer, right? So, anyway, so so going back to it, what are Democrats trying to add? Okay.
Right.
So,
want to put pork in it. They want all of their stuff for their platform.
Yes. So
that's what they want on this shutdown, out of the shutdown.
Right. So this is from the Appropriations Committee in Congress. All right. So this is the invoice. Look at this. A little smiley face and everything. It's like due October 1st, bill to the American taxpayer, free healthcare for legal aliens. Okay, like I know this is a joke, But
it's got points on. If you go to it on the left there. It's all the dates. I thought that was like the sections of the thing that they were asking for. Never mind. Go on.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. So, restore taxpayer-funded free healthcare for legal aliens. Propose up liberal news programs. Prioritize electric vehicles to access HOV lanes regardless of vehicle occupancy. Oh no, no.
You know all about HOV lanes. We don't have those where I'm at. You have so many people in density there. Those HOV lanes are nice when you got a passenger and you can just sail. There's no way we want to just let anybody with a EV just hog them. No.
I would be pissed. I'd be absolutely pissed because it'd be nothing but like lithium batteries laying on the side of the road. I don't think so. Or resumes DEI projects in foreign countries. You called that. Hands criminals over $1 billion more for taxpayer-funded defense. Repeals $50 billion of rural health care funding. Hurts hospitals and clinics in vulnerable communities. And this one is more in like actual rural areas, like in the middle of nowhere, where nearest hospital is 50 miles away, and like the only way you transport on the land that I have, at least in the land that I got, at least for my family. I remember I was driving there a couple months ago, and there was a person, I guess, who had a heart attack, but the nearest hospital was 26 miles away. So they had to send a helicopter to land in the field right next to him, get him on a stretcher, take him in the helicopter, and fly him all the way to the hospital. If you don't have insurance, and it's not subsidized by the government, you ain't leaving that house with a heartbeat. Right? So anyways, reverses lawful executive actions made by the president, rescinds border security measures passed through the working families tax cuts, usurps the president's authority over emergency funds, locks in Biden administration grant policies in direct contrast to President Trump's executive orders, handcuffs the Trump administration's ability to make agile decisions, burdens Trump administration officials with added bureaucracy meant to slow down progress, and includes $1.5 trillion of new spending for just a month of keeping government funding extended. So $1.5 trillion for a month.
And you wonder why the Republicans are keeping their foot down on it.
Exactly. So what do the Democrats have to say about this? So the shutdown is now lasting almost a week, and the Trump calls shutdown, and Republicans are still in the no negotiation, our way or the highway mode. President Trump, meanwhile, is taking the shutdown seriously. Listen to this. Instead of fixing the healthcare, instead of reopening the government, Donald Trump sees more interest in spending money to his other countries instead of focusing on the problems here at home. His administration is negotiating right now to send $20 billion to bail out Argentina. Okay. I don't know if this was already appropriated to Argentina or not, but if it wasn't, then I actually agree.
And this is an old thing because it's saying a week. The government shutdown being a week. It's been like a month.
Yeah.
At this point. And Argentina, that's Javier Milei.
Yeah.
All right. This is a guy that is doing the whole afuera, everything, just cutting all the stuff. Right?
Yep.
And so if we have the ability to help him out, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Argentina, but at the same time, I'm like, what does he really need $20 billion for? I don't know, but I get it. Like America First people are gonna be like, dude, yeah, okay, we like Argentina, we like the guy, but we still got our own things to worry about. Like, what is this bailout?
Well, exactly.
That's what I want to know.
Because they talk about sending money to foreign countries, right? For DEI initiatives or whatever. But we don't even know where this money is going and what it's supposed to do. I don't know. Maybe there is something out there. Maybe there's some contract that they signed that we don't know about. But I mean, until we can get the details of that, I actually agree. I'm a big no on that as far as I'm concerned. All right. But let's see what the Republicans have to say about that. All right. So Democrats using government shutdown in order to push restoration of taxpayer-funded health insurance subsidies for illegal immigrants, according to their own counterproposal for funding the government. This is from Ways and Means. Let's see. Republicans delivered working family tax cuts that include no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security, as well as major health care reforms that expand across flexibility while reducing fraud and improper payments in the system. Even the Congressional Budget Office recently announced that Republican reforms contain the work families tax. So now, if you want to know where they are, we do our research here. There they are. So you want to figure out which section? It's right here. Section 71109, 71110, 71117, 71201, 71301, and 71302.
Man, it sounds a lot like a particular convenience store we want to go to.
Yeah, right.
Very rather inconvenient.
Yeah, but look at this. Look at this. Ending Medicaid funding for most non-citizens. And this is us, $6,211 million, which is $6 billion.
Jeez.
All right. Enhance FBAP for emergency care to legal immigrants. That's $28 billion. Closing the California loophole, $34 billion. Ending Medicare funding for most non-citizens. That's $5 billion. Ending Obamacare funding for most non-citizens, $91 billion. Repealing the Obamacare special rule for immigrants, $27 billion. Total cost, $192 billion.
Dude, that is so much more than loaning Argentina 20 or 40 billion. So I was just looking it up on my phone while you're reading that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bank bailout to help bolster the weakening peso in Argentina. Trump said, well, it's not going to benefit us. So is it going to happen or not? Was it going to happen?
Bailout.
To the tune of 40 billion. So like it's a financing line to help their banking reserves.
Scribe, where were you in 2008?
Not paying attention to anything because I was too poor to know the difference. I was too poor to know the difference. I'm just saying. I was scrambling between temp service jobs.
Bro.
I didn't know nothing about
Bro,
Wall Street at that time.
No, that's called you were so broke you couldn't pay attention. All right. So to end this off, where do we go from here? You know, because it doesn't look like it's going to open up. They say that at some point before Thanksgiving, I'm going to tell you right now, it better open up before Thanksgiving, because if people can't get food for Thanksgiving, I think that's where stuff's going to hit the fan.
I'm not even concerned about Thanksgiving.
Right.
I'm not. It's Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Funk Master General with the $20 super chat. How you doing, buddy? Hey, you want to get yourself up here on the screen? Boom. This is how you do it. This guy, #1 fan for ROMA Nation. All right, he says, Americans are the most generous people in the world, but our generosity is being abused. They're forcing us to draw a line. Exactamundo. Absolutely. Yep. What's up, Hardy? You got Hardy in the chat there.
Yep. So that's all the shenanigans going on in the background there. Like, don't let anybody fool you. Like, and then say, "Oh, dude, all these MAGA guys up here talking about how bad Democrats are." No, we don't like when Trump does things we don't like either. Remember, he's a nice Democrat. He's gonna do dumb things too.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's it. That's all. That's all I got.
That's funny. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the middle ground, voter ID. But first, a word from our sponsor. What's going on, folks? AK with ROMA Nation here. This week is powered by Salty Roots Tallow, a brand that brings skincare back to the basics of nature and nourishment. At Salty Roots, their mission is to craft a premium American-made skincare products harnessing the nourishing power of grass-fed tallow and natural minerals for clean, holistic health. Now, they are committed to sourcing the finest, sustainably produced ingredients from U.S. farms and blending them with nature's mineral-rich treasures to create pure, effective skincare that promotes radiant skin and overall well-being. And trust me, you can feel that mission with every product. Their Dead Sea bath salts combine pure Dead Sea and Sierra sea salts with essential oils and herbs for a spa-grade mineral soak that melts away stress. They also have an activated charcoal bath soak that purifies, recharges, and cleans out impurities and leaves your skin silky smooth. In fact, I even have a mustache and beard oil made with eucalyptus mint to moisturize even my horrible dry skin to the point where I don't feel any urge to scratch and irritate myself more than I need to. So if you're ready to treat your skin the way that nature intended, visit saltyrootstallow.com and use the promo code ROMA to get 10% off individual items to help the small businesses of Middle America thrive in this crazy economy. That's saltyrootstallow.com. Get back to your roots naturally.
Look what I got, AK. Got some.
So do I.
Got some.
It makes me feel good. It's like that meme with the guy that's like,
Get that beard balm. I need to get some of the beard balm too, but I got this. This is the whipped tallow cream, Dead Sea salt, lemon, vanilla, and essential oils. It smells like you want to eat it.
Oh my!
This is nice, and I get itchy, scaly, dry patches in the wintertime, and the eczema bits or whatever. I had some itchiness up here on my shoulder, and I put it on before the show. I haven't scratched since. This is great. Like this stuff is good.
That's awesome. Yeah, this stuff. I mean, I used to get like flakes that came out of my beard, and I'm just sitting there itchy. Dude, this thing, especially with the weather change, it's been amazing. And we're not just saying this just to say it. Like this shit works.
We've had these products for probably what, a month now?
A month, yeah,
at least, and been using them. This is good stuff. I'm gonna go back and get some more. I know my wife's gonna order more. That's actually what I did. I was like, wifey, go order things. Talk to her. Talk to the lady at Salty Roots. And
it's like, here's my credit card. Thank you. All right. Funkmaster General said in 2008 I was good. In 2009 I ate leftover Halloween for Thanksgiving.
I mean, yeah. As long as you didn't carve your pumpkin too early and it wasn't all rotten on the front porch, you could have made a pie. I mean,
that's hilarious. All right. It's the middle ground.
Should Americans be required to show proof of U.S. citizenship when they register to vote in federal elections? A Republican-backed bill called the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act, passed the House and now is on its way to the Senate. But some voter rights groups and Democrats call it voter suppression and a way to undermine U.S. democracy. Capitol Hill correspondent Eric Rosales has more.
Good evening. The bill passed mostly along party lines and it now heads to the U.S. Senate, but it could be in for a tough fight. Republicans will need Democrat support to overcome the 60-vote threshold it needs to get passed. Speaker Mike Johnson says it's common sense legislation.
There's no mechanism in federal law, in current law, that requires states to prove citizenship. So even though it is currently against the law, only U.S. citizens should decide U.S. elections. There's no way to make sure that's actually happening. So the SAVE Act is so critically important.
The SAVE Act requires states to obtain in-person documentary proof of citizenship before registering a person to vote. The measure would also require states to remove non-citizens from existing voter rolls. They are already prohibited from voting in federal and state elections, though some cities allow non-U.S. citizens to vote in some local elections. Democrats claim the bill goes against the very foundations of our democracy.
The SAVE Act is a voter suppression bill, and there will be strong Democratic opposition to it, just like there is unified Democratic opposition in the lawsuit that was filed against Donald Trump related to his unconstitutional and unlawful voter suppression executive order.
President Donald Trump.
All right. So
Don't you love when like they describe exactly what the bill's supposed to do, and then the opposition goes, "That's not true. I don't like it. This dumb bill, and it's gonna hurt people." And I'm like, substance, please. Sorry, I just had this mini rant. That's just how I heard. That's what I heard when that clip was playing.
hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Boom. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, like, let's see what. Obviously, we need to see what both sides say about it. I mean, we pretty much know at this point, but I want to go into detail about a couple of things because I had a couple of questions about this as well, at least for myself. Because when somebody says voter ID, like every state is different in how they perform their duties and responsibilities as far as elections are concerned, right? But nobody's going to know what all 50 states do. Right. So
yeah, that's a 10th Amendment thing, generally speaking. You know, the states are responsible for their own elections. And like they were saying in the clip, there's no standard by which they have to do them. So, you know, some states have great standards. Others, if it wasn't for no standards or double standards.
yeah, right. But it refers to laws that excuse me, that require or request a voter to be present with identification, either photo or non-photo, before casting a ballot, right? And it ranged from very strict photo ID requirements, like you said, to looser rules with non-photo documents, like in my state, where all they asked for was my name, my address, my birth date, and they gave me a ballot, right? So,
yeah,
I mean, it was really.
And I really like the way you tied in the first thing at the beginning of the show, right? That clip of people not having access to IDs is such hogwash, right? Most people that if you're a citizen, you have a driver's license, you have an ID, you can register to vote, which is actually one of the avenues by which people who shouldn't be voting get registered to vote is through the BMVs, because they issue state IDs. And if you have a state ID, those clear the system in most states, even if there is a voter ID law.
You know, it's funny. It's funny because I was talking with my wife about this earlier, and I was like, literally, like 95% of people have IDs, right? They have an ID, they have some form of identification that they can show to vote, and it's probably about 5% of people that don't. And she actually thought it was more. She was like, no, it's more like 80% of people do. Well, actually, the number's in between because it was 83 to 94%. So
have IDs.
Right? Yes. So technically we were both right. But
and that depends on if you how many people have their IDs taken or their driver's licenses revoked, and so
every single day, at least 10,000 people a day.
Probably if you look
either
up
gain an ID or lose an ID, like, come on.
Right.
So I mean, you're never going to have an exact number at any given moment. Right. So, so let's go over here to the election lab. All right. And here it says that all states have voter identification requirements. Let me blow that up. Oh, nope. I do this every single time. I do it at the wrong tab. Boom, boom, boom. There we go.
Hey.
All right. All states have voter identification requirements ranging from simply announcing one's name to showing an official photo ID card. So I guess that's the standard. Rules vary widely from state to state, and voter ID has been a source of political controversy in the United States for nearly 2 decades. Supporters of more stringent voter ID requirements argue that these will deter voter fraud and instill confidence in the integrity of the electoral process. Opponents argue that voter fraud is extremely rare, so that the only effect of strict ID requirements is to raise the barriers to voting in ways that disproportionately affect citizens of low socioeconomic status. Well, 20 years ago, that may have been the case. But when you have 20 million people who are non-citizens that enter the country and you don't do anything about it, and then you add on top of that the fact that you have lax laws in your state, then you can't just take that for granted. You can't just say, oh, well, it's not going to happen, even though now we've bolstered our population by 8%.
Yeah, and you have people are going to get tired of me talking about Springfield in Ohio, but it's a perfect it's a perfect thing to bring up, because the population that they lost of 20,000, 30,000 people over a course of a few decades, they replaced with in 2014 it was people from Latin America, Mexico, South America. Then recently it was Haitians.
Yeah.
And the Haitians
Thanks,
are being,
Clintons.
and DeWine.
DeWine.
Anyway, glad he can't run again for another seat next year. Anywho, why do you think we have such a problem with traffic in Springfield, Ohio? Is because they're just rubber stamping driver's licenses for these people. No insurance. They're using their government benefit from being temporarily protected status to buy brand new cars, and they're given driver's licenses and they can't even pass it. They can't even figure. They're flipping cars in parking lots, and not because it's a riot. No, they're driving them and turning them upside down. How do you turn a Honda Odyssey upside down in a parking lot? I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. But that's not the point. The point is, now they have Ohio driver's licenses and they're on the voter rolls. I guarantee you some of them are in the voter rolls because of that. I don't know if our system here has that check and balance. If you go in and you swipe your card, because when I voted this last week, I walked in with my driver's license and I handed it to the lady. She sticks it in a machine and it checks it in the system and hands it back. And here's your card to go to the voting booth. That's how it works in Ohio.
Right. And let's talk about another situation, right? Because remember, the problem is most people assume that there are no problems with the voting processes that affect outcomes, right? They say that, oh, well, even if there wouldn't be enough to overturn, a federal election. But remember what you talked about earlier is that most people are fair weather voters. They come out only on the main elections, but they don't realize that there are, in some states, there are within that 4-year period, there's 20 elections.
Oh, right? Yeah, because you have May. We have ones in May. We have ballots that we cast in May for stuff, and they're talking about adding stuff back to that we voted down this fall. The other thing about that is when it comes down to the count, we had a city council person by 2 or 3 votes get unseated. Brandon Herrera, who's running for Congress in Texas, he's absolutely outdoing his competition, the incumbent Republican, Tony Gonzalez, in as far as all of his donations. But the last time he ran, it was within 400 votes or something ridiculous like that. in that district. And that's a massive district down in Texas where they're at. Now, most of it's desert and stuff, but still,
Oh, isn't it that corner? The corner of the
it's
state.
that southeast, southwest side of Texas. Yeah,
exactly.
and just a few hundred votes. It matters. Show up.
It really does, even though only like 18% of people came out to vote. But that's a whole other conversation for another episode. But they truly think that it doesn't affect the outcomes. But what they don't realize is that look at what happened in Wisconsin just a couple months ago with a non-citizen that voted in the 2020 election. Right? No one during that entire process saw any red flags that this person wasn't an American citizen. Okay, that's part number one.
Oh, there was like 1,800 of them in, was it Oregon or Washington? One of the two that were not supposed to be voting in American elections. And they decided to just drop the case against all of them. Like, really?
Exactly.
Like, that's illegal. That's a crime to vote in elections when you're not, eligible. It's a crime to move into another state just to move. If I was to come to Maryland and say, I'm going to vote as a Marylander to sandbag your elections, because you guys vote blue and we're kind of red over here, even though we're pretty purple. If I had the right, thing and had a property there and some mail that went there and some other things, and I'm not going to say all of it because, YouTube might get mad at me and legal stuff. But like, if there's a way that you can go into other states and you can vote across, people did that in the 2020 election. And they bragged about it. I'm going over here. I'm going to vote in these, or they'll vote
online.
Yeah.
And
whether they did or not, or they were talking trash or not, but some people may have been encouraged to do that.
Exactly. Right. So, number one, during the entire process, no red flags. Number two, they completed the entire process of voting. Number three, it wasn't until 2 years later that the election had passed that anything was done about it. And then by the time this person was charged, it was already past the following election cycle. And so if it was that easy and no one at any point in the process drew concern, then how many other times has this happened where of people that we didn't see? Now, this isn't about how many people that voted illegally. It's how easy it was and how long it took for that process to get fixed. Because it's not like you can go back in time and be like, oh, okay, well, let's redo the election because what? No, we're already beyond that point.
There's only ever been like 2 contested elections where Congress actually had to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
And this time around, the Supreme Court was too chicken to force it and to go, look, there's enough controversy around this election. We're just going to we're going to kick it to Congress or whoever, or, they punted, every step of the way in 2020. Now, to some degree, I'm glad that it went the way it did, because then now Trump is there's other reasons why, in retrospect, I think it worked out better this way. But it's still, the point is, if elections are destroyed, if the integrity of an election is corrupted enough, you can call for a redo on the election. You can wipe the ballots. It's not unheard of in local elections. It's fairly unheard of at the federal level, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, because there's way too many votes in the federal level, but in local elections, it's important and it's key. That's why when you look at some of these places where they have like 90 to 95% in one direction or the other, you're kind of like, I was at 95%, and they talked about representation, right? Because if you go to all the New England states, for the exception of one, it's like 38% Republican, but there is zero representation for Republicans, like zero. Now that's a gerrymandering episode. We already did that. We might do a second one before the midterms.
If that Supreme Court case of the South, we might have to revisit that thing, because there's a whole bunch of issues around districting and all that, and maybe we could do a recap on some gerrymandering just as like a little side segment to update, because there's some stuff that happened in Ohio recently where we got a new map and Democrats are mad about it. MAGA people are mad about it because Democrats lost some seat or losing a couple seats, and MAGA people are mad about it because they're not getting enough seats. I'm like, really, guys?
Oh man,
nobody's happy. Nobody's happy.
yeah. So there are currently 36 states that request to require photo ID to show at the polls. 14 states plus DC generally do not require documentary ID or use any other verification. Right. So that is. Let's see if I can find it. Where are you? There it is. Ugh. All right, so these are the voter identification laws that are in effect. So the dark green is the strict photo ID. The little bit lighter shade is a strict non-photo ID. The mid shade here is the photo ID requested. The lighter shade is ID requested, no photo required, and then in all the other states, no document required to vote. All right. Do we see?
That's a lot of states where you can just walk in and say, "I'm gonna cast a ballot." Holy moly!
Exactly. But there's one thing I do notice is that all the states with a no document required to vote, every single one of them are blue. But in all the other states, like with the strict photo ID, or let's go with the photo ID.
Well, ID requested, not required, is just as bad. That's way more. That adds Iowa and Utah and Colorado and Washington and Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And Virginia. Imagine that. Oh yeah, that's right. They just had an election.
Yes, they did. That's funny. No, man, what is going on in our chat right now?
Yeah, I saw that. Don't look at the Discord. It's wild in there.
I swear I didn't do nothing. Will's so tired. It's first. You guys trying to get us in trouble? That's hilarious. All right. So the top 3 issues that arose in states that made voter ID mandatory, right? So public confidence, integrity after controversial elections, listed maintenance and registration inaccuracy concerns, and then targeted fraud incidents and used rhetorically by lawmakers. All right. So this is from the Pew. 1 in 8 voter registrations inaccurate, 51 million citizens that are unregistered. All right. So approximately 24 million voter registrations in the United States, 1 in every 8 are no longer valid or have significant inaccuracies, according to the Pew Center of the state's election initiatives. New research in the report, Inaccurate, Costly, and Ineffective, underscores the need for registration systems that use the latest technology or better maintain voter records, save money, and streamline process and effort that 8 states are spearheading with Pew support. Now, this is the thing. This should be something that you should do, right? Every single state has money to be able to set up a system like this where it works all across the country. That's another thing I talked to my wife about today, is that there should be a system in place that every state can go into and check and get all their requirements and figure out, who's on the voter rolls, who's not, or whatnot. But going back to I understand the whole thing about paper ballots, that has absolutely nothing to do with registration.
It would be such an easy system for them to maintain. It's a database.
Mm-hmm.
When you're born, and when your parents go out and get a social security number for you and all that stuff, you're a person and you have a paper trail. Okay, that's in it. That should be in a database.
Exactly.
immediately. That should go into that database. This person was born on this date. They are ineligible to vote until this date. Blah, 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 right? And then you could double check that and go, all right, well, now this person's trying to vote. Did they register? Right? It's just a check. Registered or not, right? How many people are just not registered and or don't even vote and they're registered to vote and someone else votes for them? That's a non-zero number. How many dead people vote? That's a non-zero number. How many people are voting that are in nursing homes that don't even know they vote? Well, that was found out in Wisconsin. It was happening. They were ballot harvesting, people in nursing homes. So like, it's a database. All you have to do is go, well, okay, birth certificate, death certificate. Do they exist? Are they old enough to vote? Like, you have a baseline there, and you can go, well, this person hasn't voted in the last didn't vote in the last election, so they're no longer registered. Or maybe every year you're forced to re-register. Instead of some places, you're just registered to vote.
No, yeah, not just that, but
perpetually.
There's a database for your birth certificate. There's a database for your taxes. There's a database for your guns. There's a database for your vehicle. There's a database for your house. There's a database for, almost everything that you do, there's a database.
If I buy certain things on the internet, I'm in a database. Right? I've been talking about doing mushrooms for like culinary, like shiitakes and that kind of stuff, and oyster mushrooms, because I like to go forage for them, but they're hard to get out there, but they're easy to grow.
Funkmaster! Yes.
But those special mushrooms that some people like to mess with, that I am totally, absolutely, deadly afraid of, because I have to keep my brain. If you buy those online, you're on a list. They're tracked. The spores for those are not illegal to have, but it's once you start doing the rest of it to make them, that's when you get in trouble. And they watch that stuff.
Dude, my Rise coffee. All right, my Rise coffee is in a database.
This is normal technology. Why can't the states just use... This is technology that's 30, 40 years old. Databases have been around forever, as long as there's been computers. It's not hard to put names in a table and add columns.
It's not like it changes. Your name doesn't change. Maybe your address changes, but your name doesn't change. Your social doesn't change. Your birth certificate doesn't change.
You can change them. You can change your name if you have a dead name, as some do these days. They try to go. I had our Amazon wish list roasted by Grok earlier today. And it said that your wife is one mushroom glow lamp away from changing her name to Crystal Moonbeam. I'm sorry, I had to sell that. Like, Grok is savage. Don't ask it to roast anything, or else you'll get absolutely toasted, just burnt. It's hilarious. Anyway, I digress.
All right, moving on. All right. So, what are the main issues in states that don't have voter ID, and why have they stayed away from it? That was another question that I had, and this is from the AP. Far too little voter fraud to tip election to Trump. AP finds. All right, Associated Press, a review of every potential case of voter fraud in 6 battleground states disputed by former President Donald Trump found fewer than 475, the number that would have made no difference in the 2020 presidential election. Now, when was this? Let me see. Is there a date for this somewhere? Oh, this is 2021. All right. So the reason why I bring that up is because I wanted to go back in time and list what was said. Democrat Joe Biden won Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and their 79 electoral college votes by combined 311,257 votes out of 25.5 million ballots cast for president. The disputed ballots represent just a 0.15% of his margin of victory in those states. Now, that was then. That was before we knew how many people had come into the country. That was before we knew what type of issues that we had on different voter rolls. That was before the COVID mandates were done. That was before we had noticed that little, when you look at the numbers of the amount of voters that you have for party in each election for the last like 100 years, there's like it's almost like a linear line. It goes like this.
No, I mean
Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up, but
population growth. People move. People are born. The new generation comes up. It makes sense for it to be like nice and easy. What didn't make sense was in 2020 when you see an anomaly, and then 24 elections was a nice even. It was in line with the previous growth curve. Something happened. I'm not a data analyst, but I look at charts on the regular for my day job, monitoring traffic of different kinds and engagement. I know what an anomaly looks like, and I know when I see signal. And whatever happened in 2020 was signal, and I want it figured out. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because when it came to the other side, it was like normal.
Here was the line across all the previous elections and 24. Here was where Biden's votes came in. It was like above. It was like way above.
Oh no. Just this chat. They're having their own conversation. They're not even listening to us.
I know. I see that.
Are we that boring, guys?
Probably.
Yeah, we probably are. We're almost done. All right. So next question is: explain the push for voter ID in California, because that is happening. Benny Johnson is actually the one that's pushing this, and like the current law states that California is not generally required documentary ID at the polls, but the statewide push is a proposed statewide initiative to add voter ID for citizenship verification in September 2025, which would require ID in person and ID digits for vote by mail. Now, I would think that this is something that they would want, since they hold what 7% of the population of the United States in one state. So
sounds good to me.
Yeah, because I mean, there's no way you're going to manage that on a wide scale. I mean, it doesn't matter how many taxes you have and how many government workers you have. There's no way you're going to manage all of that. There's absolutely no way, right? So,
there's ways to build systems at scale, but when you let things go for so long.
Well, I think that's the issue, is that they let it go for so long. I don't even think that I don't even think that it's that they're cheating. I just think that it's going on for so long that they can't control it. And they don't want you to know that they can't control it.
Oh, I think it's intentional.
It's intentional in certain, and I think in smaller areas where you wouldn't think to look. But as far as the statewide scale, I just don't think they can control it. I don't think they have the ability to control it, and they know that they can't. And that's the reason why it's hard to pin court cases against it, because they're looking in the wrong areas.
Yeah, it was the death by 1,000 paper cuts. That was what happened in the courts in post 2020.
Yeah,
because so many of the small court cases were filed, like you said, all these little local places. The local has elections. The power is local.
Yeah.
If you don't control the ballot box, you might as well go stock up on cartridge boxes. Like, that's because that's the only way you might win. I'm not saying you should. That's not an endorsement of political violence, but it's like that's the eventual, like, if one side is constantly controlling power and the vote doesn't matter and a system loses confidence, people get angry.
Yeah. Who
You
was
know,
it that said it in the Discord earlier? It was like, if you're not able to control the money being backed by gold, it's going to be backed by lead and copper,
lead and brass.
lead and brass.
You can't. Well, I've always said like you can't. You won't always be able to trade dollars, but you can always trade bullets.
In
And they
multiple.
use it, and I'm not saying that as like you have to point it and send the lead down range. Like if you're in a situation where money's worthless and you got a stockpile of brass, you're back to 1860 saloons in the old west. A shot was bought with a shot, like a cartridge fully, like a 45 or 357, whatever you had.
Bro, I want one of those.
That's how they bought their drinks at the bars and the saloons. They would put, here's a bullet. Here's a bullet.
Bro, I want one of those like spit canisters when you spit into it and it goes. Right. So this is so just so that we're clear, this is from the Heritage Foundation, and these are all the cases that have gone that were found, gone to trial, and were convictions. Okay. So if you look at this map, 138 cases is the highest in one state. All right. And I believe
Minnesota?
that's in Minnesota.
Wow.
Okay. Then in Wisconsin, there were 68 cases. One of them is the case that I told you about. 117 cases in Illinois, 123 cases in North Carolina, 91 cases in Florida, 69 cases in only 69 in California.
Nice.
Noise. 40 cases in Arizona. But if you notice something here is that they're going to be in one of two places. Either they're going to be in a state with a high density of population, which makes sense, or but the anomalies are in some of these other states that you would think, okay, well, what do they have in that state that would cause this to happen?
I don't know. Illinois looks pretty corrupt. Minnesota, we know's got some corruption. Texas is a big battleground because they're trying to take it over, and there's growing. Well, it's huge. Texas is huge, so it wouldn't surprise me down there if there was some like internal oil, barren war going on, like was in Arkansas. You see, Arkansas has got like nothing there, but that's where the Clintons are from.
6.
Okay, go look into Lyndon B. Johnson and the Clintons, and well, he's before the Clintons, but like in the JFK stuff, but all that stuff is in Texas, and whoever's on those city councils or those county and township boards and all of that, they set the pace for what kind of zoning and things you can do out there when they're pumping oil out of the ground. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's some of that.
Yeah.
Ohio is 63. Yeah. I mean, we're mid. What can I say?
We're mid. That's funny. But yeah, but when you look at this map, on the surface, it doesn't look like there's much, right? But these are all the confirmed in convictions, all right? It's not talking about the people that are already awaiting trial. It's not talking about people that have already been charged. It's not talking about the people that have already been sent home out of the country. It's not talking about any of there's more than just conviction, right? And this goes back to the court case with Trump in New York. Just because he was convicted doesn't mean that he's guilty.
Right. Well, here's the thing too. This map I noticed first published in 2017. This is the updated as of this July. 2017 is right after Trump is elected. Guess who's crying about election fraud? Democrats. The elections were hacked. It was fraud. This is heritage.org, Heritage Foundation. First published in 2017. Right after that, it's probably Republicans going, look, here's all the data. Here's all the people we're going to track how many people get convicted. before there was ever talk of the 2020 election, this data has been being collected. So that says something. I want to know how far back it goes. I wonder if it starts then. That would be interesting to know the data, the date range, because this could be over all time. Which I hope it's all time.
Yeah,
I hope so, because then that spreads 63 convictions in Ohio for voter fraud over God knows how many years. As many elections as we have had. 250 years coming up next year. The United States has been a country under the Constitution. 250. A bicentennial and a half a centennial.
there you go. All right. So last question here is how many voters have issues? Because I tried to find how many votes were illegally casted, and that it doesn't show exactly that because it's kind of hard to find illegals. Like I said, we had the one that was in Wisconsin, but that was just one, right? And that shows you how difficult it is to actually do that when the states run their own elections. And you have to actually go in and file a grievance or a Pfizer or a FOIA request, or you have to do a whole bunch of stuff and spend a shit ton of money in order to even access the information. Then you have to figure out what the information means, right? So if there's one thing that Republicans have against them is how exactly do you know all of this? When they were talking about the 2020 election, we know, Rudy Giuliani, we know that there was election fraud. How do you know? Like they're not just going to hand you the paper and say this person did it. Like what
I don't know. Mike Lindell was pretty convinced the stuff he had on fraud. I'm sorry. If anybody knows anything about Mike Lindell and 2020 election fraud stuff, that cyber symposium was a joke. Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started on the QAnon thing again.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but let's go to the issues that we have with obtaining a voter ID because of circumstance. All right, so we just started off with the Heritage Foundation. Now we're going to go to the Brennan Center. All right. Millions of Americans don't have documents proving their citizenship readily available. Last year, the Brennan Center partnered with Vote Writers, the Center of Democracy and Civic Engagement at the University of Maryland, and PublicWise to survey Americans about what identification they possess and what they know about their voter ID laws in their state. We also asked respondents whether they had documents that proved their citizenship, a passport, birth certificate, or naturalization papers, which apparently I don't have and know how to get, readily available. Our research indicates that more than 9% of American citizens voting age of 21.3 million people don't have proof of citizenship readily available. So that puts that at 91% that does. So once again, going back to that conversation where I said 95, my wife said 80, it's right in the middle. So we also uncovered evidence of racial disparities, and these numbers were just over 8% of self-identified white American citizens don't have citizenship documents readily available. That number is nearly 11% among Americans of color. So let's do some math here. All right. All right.
Actually, those numbers are just that if it's percents, that's deceptive. That would be a lot more in the Americans of color group.
That's why I got my calculator out. Okay, so there's 350 million people. All right, we're doing this live. Okay, we'll do it live.
You got to take 350 million times 0.13, right?
Okay, hold on. No, I'm sorry.
Because that's the 13% of the population, and then you have to multiply that by the 11%. And then we'll find out.
Hold on, because there's 170 million eligible voters.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna get down. We're gonna get down to.
We're getting down to brass tacks. All right. So what's the percentage of white Americans? Was it 67% or 64%?
Not sure right offhand.
All right. We're doing this live. All right. So percentage of white. Actually, I'm gonna share this tab so you guys can see what I'm doing. White Americans in America. 59.3. All right. How about no? Hold on. So, white American voters. What the hell is this? Not interested. Okay. Let's see. By state, age, voting patterns. Why is it not? Oh, now all of a sudden it doesn't want to answer. Let's see. AI mode. 71% of all voters. All right. So that's times one. So that's 120 million. All right. So what was that? It was 8% of that.
Yeah, I would say. We'll check your results to mine.
All right. So that is 9.65 million white Americans that do not have. Okay. So hold that number. Okay. So let's go to 7.1. So it would be 29. So it'd be 100. So 29%. All right. So let's go with the calculator. 170 million times 0.29. Let's see. 9 times 1. So of non-white Americans, 5 non-white voting eligible Americans, that is 5.42 million.
Wow.
So that's 5.42 million non-whites versus 9.65 white million Americans.
So it's like double the amount on the white American side versus non.
Now, I will say this though. It's double the amount of white Americans, but as far as population density is concerned, if you separated the two, the percentage is going to be higher. All right. So that's just one though. Right? So I guess the real question is, how do we get these 15 million Americans their IDs so they can vote?
You can't make people vote. Even in countries that mandate voting and make it illegal to not vote, don't even have 100%. Like they actually have less voter turnout than countries where it's volunteer.
Right.
And that's actually one of the biggest red flags there for countries that have messed up elections is when they have higher voter turnouts than they should.
Like Venezuela?
Or 2020. Like, there's no way that many people voted for Biden. I'm just saying, there's no way. I mean, you don't beat Obama and beat Biden. Okay? These two things do not match up. One of these is not like the other.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing when you look at it because you got to remember Obama and Biden both went against each other.
Oh yeah, it was ugly.
In 2000. Yeah, he barely even made it, but he still did better than Kamala.
Not lying.
Anyways, that was middle ground.
So
That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's not really it's not really one of those things that we can sweep under the rug anymore. Any of these things that we talked about today, we have to be looking at our what's our government doing? we have to be looking at what's our side doing. You know, if it's Republicans that are, you know, saying you can't, we want to take all of the, we want this thing to go this way, and we're going to hold out because you guys want to spend a bunch of money, and then we're going to go bail out banks in some other country. Sorry, I'm mad at that. I am mad at that. But I'm still with the Republicans on this one and the things that the Democrats want to put in and all of that. Like, I understand why the Republicans are holding out at this point and why, you know, it'll be neat to see this bill come through because it may get the same treatment as this, you know, CR, this continuing resolution. They may end up filibustering it. We'll see. Or the Republicans may just cave and just, okay, we put it on the table. We're a speed hump.
Yeah, but I honestly think that if they've held out this long, like any change would just cause a nuclear holocaust in the Republican Party. Like it literally would.
I think it's a game of chicken. It's you know, it's November. It's rut season. I should be out there shooting for one more of these guys hanging on my wall right now. These guys are butting heads like deer in the woods.
Exactly.
And they're locked up. They're locked up. Have you ever seen the videos of the deer that walking around and he's got the decapitated head of the other buck? Just gore hanging, and he's like, I'm the baddest one in the woods, man. Just got that big dude.
All right, Scrap is
savage. I need to get out there.
Yes. Yeah, but right now Scrap is fading away. So
I am. I'm tired.
need to get out of here.
Slap happy. I'm talking about all kinds of stuff.
Go to riseofmiddleamerica.com. Please pop up. See, look at that. It's still screwing up on me. All right, riseofmiddleamerica.com, where you can see our lineup of podcasts. Upper right-hand corner, that's where all our socials are. Right here is where you can show your support by going to the Roma Nation Network merch, or you can go to the real Roma _AK at X. You can subscribe there, or you can go to our Discord, which is also at the top, right up here, and you can subscribe to one of our positions there. Anyways, Scrap, it's been a pleasure. I know you can get some rest. I need to get some rest because it's been one heck of a week. I will see you guys next week along with Scrap. I will be at the Culture War tomorrow for Timcast. So we will see you guys later.
Be safe tomorrow, buddy.
All right, we'll do.